Hi everybody and welcome to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This video is a one-story video with a post from the subreddit Legal Advice with 2 updates. Now this is a roller coaster of a story and I got as much information on it as possible. So as usual, if you want to move throughout the video, you can always use the timestamps right below it. Now let's get started with this story. This post is from the subreddit Legal Advice and it's from user Legal to Sue. Terminated. Company says I can't sue. New York. I held a management position at a company. I asked a non-management employee of the opposite sex to step into another room to discuss her performance away from other employees. She was going through a divorce and had made a few mistakes, and while I didn't want to embarrass her, I did want to make sure the mistakes were addressed. She acknowledged it and thanked me. An hour later, I was escorted from my office by security and was informed by my boss that a sexual harassment complaint had been made and proper protocol was to suspend me. I asked what it was and was told, "We need to investigate. I can't disclose that." He assured me that it shouldn't take long and if I wasn't guilty of anything, I'd be paid for the time out. I again asked what the accusation was and was told as there was an ongoing investigation, I was not permitted to know, but if they had questions, I would be contacted. I wasn't happy, but knowing that I didn't do anything wrong, I left the building. Later that night, I received a notification on my phone that my email password was incorrect. After 2 days, I called my boss asking for an update and was told he was not available, but I would hear something soon. I began calling daily and received the same response. Finally, I received a letter in the mail informing me that I was terminated for exposing myself and requesting sexual favors from an employee. The employee listed was the young lady I had pulled into the side room. I immediately called up my boss and was told he is unavailable and said to say the matter is closed. My buddy, the IT guy, messaged me on Facebook asking what happened as he's been told to deactivate my accounts. When I told him the whole story, he replied, "You took her into the X room? Dude, there's a security camera in there. We keep Y in there, so we always have the camera on." Sure enough, he pulls the footage and there I am, holding a pile of papers, pointing to them and keeping my pants on the whole time. I left a message for my boss that the alleged incident occurred in a room with surveillance and that I would be contacting an attorney and subpoenaing the video record. I received a call back 15 minutes later asking me to please participate in a phone conference with him and HR. The conference went as expected. They didn't realize it had occurred in a room with surveillance. They have a zero tolerance policy that they have to enforce. You can't be too careful in this day and age. They regret that this didn't come to light sooner. They've already replaced me, and as it wouldn't be fair to terminate my replacement as she's done nothing wrong, they don't have a job to offer me back. However, as a gesture of goodwill, they are going to pay me through my suspension, change my file so it reads that I voluntarily resigned, and provide me with a good reference. I replied that wasn't acceptable. They made a false accusation against me, withheld vital information that I could have easily refuted, refused to take my calls, and completely failed in their own investigation by not checking video footage that would have immediately exonerated me. They asked what I thought would be fair. I told them they could immediately terminate the employee who made the accusation and either give me my job back or pay me out 1 year's salary in addition to what was offered. My boss said that he could not discuss another employee with me and that neither of those options is feasible. The only options I have are what he already offered. I replied that the options I gave are the only way I'm not going to sue the company along with the employee. My boss replied that I signed an agreement when I was first hired saying I would take all disputes through arbitration and that I waived my right to sue the company. I do not remember signing the agreement and I have not seen it, but it apparently says that I will take all disputes to arbitration. I will bear the costs of arbitration and that I will accept the decision in arbitration. He stated that I will not fare any better in arbitration than he's already offered, and I'll be out the money to cover the arbitration. I feel like I'm being bullied here, and don't think he would have scheduled a phone conference with such immediacy if he didn't think the company was vulnerable to a lawsuit. I'm waiting on a callback from a few employment attorneys. Do I have a case? Am I wrong to feel that this is unacceptable? Wow, well, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't comment on whether OP has a case or not. I think he does, but I can't be absolutely sure, of course, because I don't know New York law. The thing I am going to say is that, OP, if you do find that you have a case, I would sue the crap out of everyone who wronged you. Your boss and the company are trying to steamroll you, and that's a term I learned from Harvey Specter by watching Suits. And the employee that accused you, well, we just know that that is wrong and that she should face the consequences of her lying. And that is as much as I can say, because to the rest, I am just ignorant. But what about you guys? Do you think OP has a case? Let me know what you think in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. ODM says, don't take legal advice from your opponent. Of course you can sue. The feasibility of winning that suit is best discussed with your attorney. And OP responds, that's why I came here. They certainly don't have my best interests in mind. Etoinshirl Glue says, get a lawyer and have him subpoena that video before it gets lost. And OP responds, I have the whole conference on tape. My boss admitted that the tape proves the accusation was unfounded, and had they seen it earlier, they could have offered me my job back. Breakaway87 says, yes, you can sue. You can sue the company or the lady that made the false allegations. And OP responds, she's been ranting about fighting her husband for the house during the divorce. Wonder how pissed she's going to be when she has to fight me for it. Additional information from OP's comments. I signed a lot of documents on day one that I was not given copies of. I've asked for a copy of the signed agreement and they said they'd get back to me if I decided to move forward with arbitration. The sexual harassment policy states that all allegations will be investigated. The offending party may be suspended, and if found unsubstantiated, the accused will be paid for that time and returned to their position without penalty or negative record. I requested that as they had taken a full 2 weeks to investigate the allegation, that they provide me a copy of the report containing the evidence they used to determine the false accusation to be true. My boss said this was privileged. The total time from my notice of termination to my call to the office was 27 hours. The conference call was 14 hours later. This means they replaced me before the supposed investigation, which I do not believe happened, concluded. Okay, well, now we've got a lot more information regarding what's going on, so how about we move on with the first update to see what happened next? Quite a bit has happened in the last few weeks. A friend of mine at another company, after hearing what happened, told me his company had an opening. I applied, interviewed, and at the end, the manager asked me what I liked to be called. 2 days later, I got a call saying they'd gone with another candidate. My friend admitted to me that he'd gotten some flack for recommending me. Apparently, HR had worked with one of the employees at my former company and called the employee to ask what the deal was with me. To which the employee responded, he got fired for sexually assaulting a subordinate. I think he's actually being charged criminally. I'm literally crying as I type this. It's a nightmare that won't end. Long story short, I lost my crap. Called up my old company. My old boss wouldn't get on the phone with me. Had an attorney draft a letter of demand and sent it off. Had another phone conference scheduled. They once again regret that an employee provided a reference outside of the prescribed channels. The employee was coached on the proper way to handle such requests. My attorney informed them that in addition to wrongful termination, we would be adding defamation to our complaint against them. They insist that they have not broken any laws and they cannot control the actions of an individual employee who went against company policy. So we're at an impasse here. Either I move ahead against them or I walk away. At this point, I'm ready to drag this through court. I tried to take the high road and go elsewhere, but they're regretting a lot they've done to me without any action to correct it. Oh, I almost forgot. A few days after my last post, they sent me a packet of papers, standard non-disclosure notifications, COBRA, and a blank copy of the arbitration agreement for me to sign. Why a blank one, you ask? Well, it seems somebody effed up. They weren't making people sign when I was hired, and HR never bothered to have me sign the agreement when I worked there. I, of course, have signed nothing that they sent me, including that agreement. I considered allowing arbitration if they pay the costs, and I have approval over who is selected, but my attorney has advised me not to do that. I wish I had better news to report. Things aren't as hopeless as they'd first seemed, but not as easily fixable either. As for the employee who made the accusation, I know you're eager to hear, but at this point I cannot comment on what's happening there. Thanks for all the advice and support so far. I promise to update when everything resolves, if not sooner, as much as I can. Oh wow, they did F up. There is no signed agreement, and even if there was one, I'm pretty sure OP can still sue. Regardless, now we have the final update to go to, and that clears up everything. So let's continue with that. I'll start this final update with a short summary with information that wasn't in my original post. So, I pulled one of my direct reports, Deborah, into another room to discuss a few mistakes she made, but did not discipline her further. After this, she went to Joyce, one of the managers above me, but not in my direct line of report. Equal to my boss in terms of reporting structure. When Joyce heard that I had taken Deborah into another room without any witnesses, she said to her that it was unprofessional. Apparently, her exact words were, "You know, you could accuse him of being inappropriate with you, and I would have no choice but to believe you." This was repeated several times, with a strong emphasis on no choice. Joyce then asked Deborah if I had been inappropriate with her, saying, "It will only happen again if you don't speak up now. If you do now, we can take action." Taking the not-so-subtle hint from Joyce, Deborah accused me of exposing myself to her, and I was placed on leave pending an investigation. Joyce immediately sent out an email that nobody besides the secretary was to speak with me without an attorney present, and told the IT guy, Paul, to deactivate my access. James, my boss, had a resume for Terry, an employee in Joyce's department, applying for my job before the closing of business that day, and she was hired. Paul and I talked. He provided me with a video proving my innocence. The company continued to stonewall me and refused to talk to me. When they did, they attempted to push me into arbitration and to retroactively sign an arbitration agreement. I cut my losses, took another job, and was ready to move on. Then Sandy, an employee in Joyce's department, broke protocol, talked to HR at the new company, told them I had sexually assaulted a subordinate, and cost me the job. So that brings us up to date. My attorney and I launched a civil suit against the company and Deborah. Bet you're wondering how I know the above. Well, good old Joyce said she'd protect Deborah if she came forward. Unfortunately, that only extended to her job. So when she was named individually in this suit, corporate told her they would not be providing her an attorney. After realizing that she'd be putting her house up for collateral, she was all too willing to throw Joyce under the bus. Joyce went to Paul, the IT guy, who was one of her reports, and gave him a list of footage to be procedurally wiped as part of an archive clearout. He pointed out that the incident with me was on that list and part of an ongoing investigation. Joyce told him that it was no longer needed and to go ahead and wipe it. He refused, citing the fact that it would still be requested in the event that the suit moved forward. She told him to pack his things as he was being terminated for insubordination. He called the company attorney and informed her what had happened. The aftermath. Several things happened at once, so I'll try to keep them as chronological as I can. Deborah's attorney contacted my attorney, stating that conditional on me dropping the suit, she would admit that she lied and explained what went on behind the scenes. Dana, the company attorney, got the call from my attorney with the details from Deborah shortly after she finished talking with Paul about being terminated for refusing to destroy evidence. Deborah and Joyce were terminated for cause that day. Paul was told that his job was safe. My attorney received a call and it was made clear that the company didn't want this to go any further and wanted to talk settlement. I won't go into all of the details, but what I can say, I was offered my job back with a very fair increase. I received back pay from the date of suspension and a public apology was offered from the very top. Terry is now working in Joyce's old position. She's incredibly cool about things and felt horrified when she found out what happened. James and I are good now, and he has personally apologized for not sticking up for me. This will be my final update. There is still some legal battle ongoing, but I can't go into that too much. Thank you for all your support and encouragement. You guys rock! Wow, this has been a roller coaster. I'm very happy that Joyce and Deborah got what they had coming and that OP got retribution. Although I have to say, OP, I wouldn't be cool with your boss, James. I don't know if it's protocol or not, but he did not have your back at any moment. And there's supposed to be trust between you and him. He's your leader, right? Now, I definitely understand the seriousness of the accusation, but he was too quick to throw you out, man. I wouldn't let that go. But anyways, I'm not OP, so there's nothing I can do about it. Now, as you guys know, I always try to get as much information as possible from every post. So I dove in the comment section to see if OP gave us any more information regarding what's going on, and this is what I found. Paul gave the evidence to both me and the company. The company did not know that I had the footage, but it was moot because they stipulated that my version of what happened in the room was reflected on camera. Deborah insisted that it happened and Joyce backed her, apparently positing that Deborah may have been confused with another time when I spoke to her, not on camera. Paul knows me very well, and when he checked the video and saw I was being railroaded, he did what he felt was morally right. Believe me, I'm not planning on staying here. However, without giving too much away, this is a very tight-knit industry. People talk and I was pretty much scorched earth. By clearing my name, being welcomed back, and putting in some time, I'm making sure I have all my ducks in a row before I get the hell out of here. The CEO sent a personal clarification that the reference was unauthorized and that the accusation was false. Regarding my boss, James, he was never fired. He did bring up his uneasiness with his superiors, but was told that Joyce had handled the investigation properly, and he was not to speak with me without Dana present. I understand why he did what he did, and while things will never be the same between us, I can work with him without there being animosity. I don't really know why Joyce did all of this. My guess? Power. She's an ambitious person trying to get ahead in life. Terry and I were on an equal level management-wise. The only difference is I have more direct reports, whereas she was basically an assistant manager to Joyce. She handled the department when Joyce was out by herself, so Joyce saw an opportunity to put a surrogate in another management position and get a foothold into my area. I don't know this officially, but it's gotten back to me from a few people that after my attorney called, Dana walked into our CEO's office and said, "You need to either settle or get outside counsel, because there is no chance in hell I'm walking into a courtroom to defend this effing nightmare." And there you go. That's all the information I've got on this post. So to finish up the video, I'm gonna say, OP, it's great that everything went well. It does suck that you had to go through all of this because of somebody lying, but those people got what they had coming. I wish you all the best in the upcoming future. Take care, OP. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I certainly did reading them to you. So if you did, then go ahead and give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become a member of our Discord community that just keeps growing, and it is fantastic. All of the relevant links are in the video description below, so be sure to check them out. And finally, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content, so thank you once again. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.